Hola. Let's turn that on. Y buenos días, buenos días. Bien. Okay. Vale. We're gonna okay. A ver. We had some folks commenting that the video was a bit tough. I want to show you some things before we do the video, but we're going to do our también and tampoco first, if that's okay. See, bien. And then I'm going to take that chunk from the video. And the video was really just meant to give you an idea of a theme and to give us a theme to talk about. So I'll get to your questions when we take on that video chunk, but I appreciate that. So I'll scale some things down for a little bit easier.
Right. Other people might not be feeling that way. And I don't want to,
Well,
if you're talking about the video of the girl in
Valencia, yeah.
Yeah, I also kind of thought it was a little tougher, but I thought part of it was her delivery that was very monotone, and it was like she never took a breath in some sections of the video. So it was kind of hard to sort of like, catch up, figure out what she was saying and catch up with it.
Yeah, that may be, to be very honest, what a little bit of a function of how young people record. Because she's a 20-something, a lot of them everything is very cut, and splice it together. But I think the challenge for a lot of people may just be the vocabulary and the pace. And so we'll try to take that down a bit. So,
yeah,
okay.
I had that challenge too with her, but I also thought, just a second thought, that it didn't help that she was just talking like this and no sentence ever ended.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. That's really good. And I thank you for giving me feedback on that, because if it's too tough, we need to work around that to make it more comfortable with you. And that's perfectly valid.
And there was one other big problem with that video. I was starving watching that and thinking of where to go for paella. I think there is a place in North Scottsdale that does paella, but I've never tried it there.
Is there really? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I have to tell you, which is an interesting bit. I was in the northern part of Spain in 2016, and there was a gal who had arranged some tours through some historic sites, and I think we were at there was a group restaurant dinner, and at one point I said, "Where is a good place to get paella?" And she said, "Nowhere." And this is a native Spaniard. She said, "Nowhere." And I said, "What do you mean nowhere?" She said, you can't get good paella anymore unless you go to Valencia. Valencia is the only place. And I said, "But why would that be?" And she said, "Because everybody makes it from frozen except in Valencia. Every other place," she said, "I swear to you, the only region you can go to where it is made fresh now is Valencia. Everybody else takes it out of a freezer tray." And she said, "It's no good." Okay, so yeah, straight from the native.
The Monte Lucia Resort in Scottsdale is a Spanish influence location, and the restaurant serves paella.
And I think around here, a lot of the problem is getting the good seafood, nice fresh seafood here. Access in a desert can be problematic or just expensive. Maybe you got a good supplier, but it's expensive. Yeah. Cuesta mucho, costs a lot. Okay. So what I had planned first is I would like us to start with our little hangnail portion, which is, and kind of get that out of the way. And our little hangnail portion is the también, tampoco, también and tampoco. Bien. I hope that this video helped. I thought he did a good breakdown on how we use those. And I'm sure somewhere in the etymology of all this, if one is a linguist, which I am not, there's probably something to the fact that they both start with tam. Both those words start with tam. So somewhere you have evolved to talk about agreement, but agreement in a positive sense versus agreement with a negative idea. And that's really the only difference between those two. But anyway, I thought that was a good video to give you a primer on when we use también and when we use tampoco. So I thought we would kind of expand from that and do a little test. Well, not a test. Yeah, un quiz. We'll do a little quiz on actually putting that into use to see if that makes sense.
Can I ask a question before we do the exercise?
Claro, sí.
I wasn't clear on whenever you used a mí and whenever you used yo.
Okay. Buena pregunta. Sometimes people will respond with those words tampoco and también with a phrase rather than a whole sentence. And I'll give you an example. Un ejemplo. Un ejemplo, por ejemplo, me gusta el vino. Me gusta el vino. I like wine. Me gusta el vino. Yo también. Me too. Okay. I'm sorry. That's my example with a mí. Me gusta el vino. A mí también. Because it's a verb, because we're using gustar, it really needs to be in a mí también. Me gusta el vino. A mí también. Me too. Verbs that work off of gustar will have an a mí también, or with a negative like, no me gusta, no me gusta. So notice we're starting with a negative statement now. No me gusta el café. No me gusta el café. I don't like coffee. So if we're starting with a negative idea, the agreement for a negative idea is tampoco. But if it's gustar or a verb like gustar, no me gusta el café gets a negative agreement phrase of a mí tampoco, a mí tampoco. Okay, so gustar and verbs that work like gustar. Okay, those verbs like interesar, importar, faltar, verbs like that, verbs that work in that world of the gustar thing, meaning they've got a me, te, le, les, nos, and the verb. They get an a mí tampoco or an a mí también. Verbs that work off of the I use all the conjugations, the yo, the tú, the nosotros, they use all, okay, verbs that are not in that gustar and gustar wannabes category. Those verbs get just también or just tampoco as a response. If people take that shorty response, por example, camino en el parque cada día. Camino en el parque cada día. Yo también. Me too. Yo también. He does too. Él también. They do too. ellos también. Okay, so somebody may shorten it down to using just that word. But caminar is a verb that goes into all those forms and we actively use in all those forms. So, okay, otro ejemplo con también y tampoco. Me gusta cocinar, or not me gusta. Cocino, cocino al estilo italiano. Cocino al estilo italiano. Yo también. Nosotros también. Okay. Cocino, again, gets conjugated all the different ways. Cocino, cocinas, cocina, cocinamos, cocinan. So if you respond with just a phrase, yeah, then you can do that. But the verbs that work like gustar, yeah, that only go into those two conjugations of gusta or gustan, interesa or interesan, importa or importan, molesta or molestan. Those get an a mí también or an a mí tampoco. Does that get close to answering your question? All right.
Yes, and just one other thing then, so you could also say, like, if you wanted to say us too, it would be like a nos también.
Okay. Me gusta caminar en el parque. A nosotros también. We do too. A nosotros también, because I used me gusta. Yeah. Me interesa el arte. Me interesa el arte. I'm interested in art. A nosotros también. A nosotros también. We do too. Yeah, we're interested too. Yeah, because me interesa is a verb that works like me gusta. See? Nos molesta el ruido. The noise bothers us. A mí también. El ruido nos molesta. The noise bothers us. A mí también. A él también. Bien, okay. So it depends on if it's a gustar or verbs that only get those two conjugations and they use a little pronoun. Yeah. Then you get an a mí, a nosotros, a ti, all of those. Versus the other verbs that get all the full conjugations, then it'll just be the person and a también or the person and a tampoco. Okay. A negative example with that. No nos gusta el calor. No nos gusta el calor. We don't like the heat. And when we start with a negative idea, no nos gusta el calor. See? No nos gusta el calor. A mí tampoco. Me either. Okay? Not me either. A mí tampoco. ¿Sí? A José, no le interesa el fútbol. A José no le interesa el fútbol. José doesn't like soccer. A José no le gusta el fútbol. A nosotros tampoco. A nosotros tampoco. We're not interested either. A nosotros tampoco, because interesar, right, works like gustar. Yeah? Yeah? A negative example with the verbs that don't work like gustar, a negative example, because remember when we use tampoco to agree in a negative way. So, a ver. No limpiamos No limpiamos el viernes. We don't clean on Friday. No limpiamos el viernes. ¿Sí?
I'll tell you when the class is
And
done.
limpiamos
That's okay,
is
but I need
just
to find out
conjugated
more.
like all the other verbs. It
Okay,
gets
yeah,
all
how
the
many?
wide range of conjugations. So, no limpiamos el viernes.
Disconnected.
Mi mamá tampoco. Mi mamá tampoco. My mom doesn't either. Now you can do a whole sentence. Mi mamá no limpia tampoco el viernes. Right? You can string it out to a whole sentence, but you can reduce it to just the one word también or the one word tampoco with a person. Bien? Make sense? See?
Yeah,
See?
that helps. Thank you.
Okay. Bien.
Can I ask
So-
one clarifying question?
Sí.
With gustar, if I want to say it's nos gusta el periódico or something like that, but
That's okay.
if I'm going to say a nos, that's wrong. It's
A nos
nosotros.
doesn't work. Yeah. A nosotros.
Okay.
A nosotros. A nosotros. So those little things that work with gustar. A nosotros nos gusta. A ti te gusta. A él le gusta. A ella le gusta. A mí me gusta. A mí me gusta. A ellos les gusta. A ellos les gusta. See? But it's never an a nos. Yeah.
Okay.
It's always a nosotros. A nosotros.
Okay.
And that's something that those of us who speak English can kind of struggle with a little bit. That's a typical thing. If you think, oh, is that weird for me to have that question? No, it isn't weird. Bien. Okay. A ver. Can you see my screen with the little tabs, the little drop-down tabs? See? Bien? Okay. And this is designed to really whittle it down to very simple responses, okay? Not asking you to give a whole sentence. They give you the main part of the sentence. You're just deciding between your también and tampoco. Larisa trabaja y estudia. Larisa trabaja y estudia. And that is a positive statement.
I don't know what's going on. in
So,
some meeting.
If you're adding other people to that activity and saying the other person does that too, it'll be
Yo
También.
también.
yo
Hey,
también
I'm
trabajo
just
y
going to
estudio.
jump in. I'm not sure who, somebody's having a separate
yeah.
conversation. Could you please mute, could you please go on mute?
Yeah, I'm going to try to.
And then you come up here to go.
I
Hang
don't
on, let
think
me-
they realize they're connected.
Yeah, I think there's a connection problem. I'm going to see if I can put a message in the chat box here.
And then next 8 connect or should be here again.
Yeah, I don't know who NSFC is.
They don't realize they're connected.
Yeah. Okay, bien. Hopefully they can see the chat box, which I'm not sure. We'll see. Vamos a ver. Okay. A ver. Let's see if we can get this in. Bien. Okay, so here's the key. Because we've got a positive statement, the agreement is también. So, yo también trabajo y estudio is great. You could respond by cutting out those two verbs. To just respond with yo también would be okay. As a shortcut. ¿Sí? Okay, a ver. Carlos es vegetariano. We've got an affirmative statement, right? And a statement of fact. ¿Sí? Bien. Isabel
También.
También.
Bien.
también es vegetariana. Perdón. Let me pause this for a moment. I have, unfortunately, my AC guys. I'll be right back. Ay, a ver. Okay. Hello. Yes, great. I'm sorry, what time?
Everybody ready for the heat coming back this weekend?
No.
Diane, es muy calor en Chicago.
En Illinois, muy, y humedad, muy humedad.
Mi esposo dice que la escuela la próxima semana, no, maybe. Las
Mi
escuelas.
Y perdón, excuse me. They usually text me, and of course, no, they have to call me in the middle of my. Okay. A ver. Bueno. Hay una conversación de la escuela, de nuestra clase, otras escuelas.
Una conversación del tiempo.
Ah,
En Chicago.
Las
Bien.
escuelas en Downers Grove no empiezan hoy para el color.
sí. Hay grandes problemas en Chicago ahora con
Sí.
una burbuja de calor. There's a heat bubble. Hay una burbuja de calor en Chicago ahora.
Y humedad, muy humedad.
Mucha humedad. Hay mucha humedad.
Mucho.
Lo siento mucho porque sí, es
Y
una lástima, es
Minneapolis
muy difícil.
también. Minneapolis también.
También. Muy al norte. Tener este problema en el norte es poco usual. Poco usual. Not usual. Yeah.
Pero mañana en Fountain Hills solo 100 degrees mañana. It'll feel cool, only 100.
Pues quizás. Maybe. No sé exactamente. Ayer hacía calor, pero hoy no estoy segura. Bueno, ok. Vamos a ver el tercer ejemplo, número 3. El ejemplo número 3, ¿sí? No sé manejar. I don't know how to drive. No sé manejar. And we've got a negative statement here. So if we're going to be in agreement with a negative statement, it'll be
Tampoco.
Yo tampoco. Now we could add the manejo, or yo tampoco manejo, o yo tampoco sé manejar. Those would all be valid ways to respond, but you can shorten it. You can condense it down to just the yo tampoco. Okay. And I'm going to preview this. This word here, participará, is just a future. So it just means Ana will participate instead of she does participate right now. She will, okay? Ana participará en la carrera de natación, in a swimming race, yeah? Carrera can mean career, but here it means a race, a competition of some sort. Ana participará en la carrera de natación. Yo
Yo también.
También.
también participaré making a yo that's in the future, but you could get rid of the participaré and use the yo también as just a shortcut. See, bien? Yo también with no verb after it can be used as a shortcut there. Bueno, a ver.
Marilyn, so,
Sí.
I mean, that comes through if you're saying, yes, me too, you know. What if you wanted to switch that around now and say, not me? So just forget también or tampoco and just,
Okay. I'm doing a swimming race and you say, oh, I'm not. Fácil. Yo no.
Yeah,
Yo
well,
no.
también.
Yeah. Yo no is just the quickest, shortest response. Okay. No iremos, and this again is a future. Think of this as vamos. Yeah, it's just vamos, but in the future. No iremos a la fiesta de María. We won't be going to
Tampoco.
Maria's party. No iremos a la fiesta de María.
Tampoco.
Tampoco, sí.
Yo tampoco iré. And you could take off the iré, that's just a future verb, right? It's just putting voy, I'm going, into a future there, future tense. Yo tampoco, you could cut that verb out and just say yo tampoco. Okay, a ver. But because we're starting with a negative idea first of the no vamos or no iremos, we need that negative tampoco word as the response, okay? A mí no me gustan las películas de horror. I don't like horror movies. A mí no me gustan las películas de horror. And you respond to that.
A mí tampoco.
A mí tampoco. A mí tampoco. I don't either. I don't either. Bien? Okay. And the a mí tampoco is needed because it's
Me gusta.
gustar. Yeah. It can't be yo tampoco. I mean, now, if you made that mistake and said yo tampoco, would somebody understand you? Yes, they would, but it would sound a little off, right? Because you really need the a mí tampoco, a mí tampoco. And now we've got another verb that operates like gustar. Me encantan, I love. Me encantan los pasteles de chocolate. I love chocolate pastries. I love chocolate pastries.
Tampoco.
A mí
También.
También.
A mí también me encantan. I love them too. I love them too. Bien? Vale, bueno. Okay. A mí también. And again, you could theoretically get rid of the me encantan. Just cut that out and do the shortcut and say, a mí también. And that works. Okay. Bien, fantástico. William, ocho. A ver, Guillermo. William. Guillermo come hamburguesa los fines de semana. William eats hamburgers, eats burgers.
Every weekend.
Weekends.
También.
On weekends. Yo
También.
también. Okay, we've got an affirmative statement. Hey, Bill eats this stuff. Oh, I do too. Yo también. I do too. And notice in English we say I do too. I do. Yeah. Bueno, a ver. 9. A Isabela. Oh, esto es difícil. A Isabela, como a mí.
También.
También nos gusta ir a fiestas. And the a Isabela, como a mí. Isabel, like as I, as that como means as I do. We like going to parties. Yeah. Just to define who's in this group of nos. Yeah. The job of this little phrase that's the lead off, Isabel, as well as
As me.
I put
as
myself in the group. Yeah. And because I'm including more than one person in the group, it's a nos, but we're just being very specific about who's in that group of nos gusta ir a fiestas. That's all. Okay. Bien. But también because there's no negativity in that statement. It's a también to include other people there. Okay. Vale. Daniel no usa su celular antes de dormir. Daniel does not use his cell phone before sleeping.
Tampoco.
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 Yo tampoco lo uso. I don't use it either. And the lo is talking about
Cell phone.
celular. Yeah. Lo is referring back to that word celular. Yo tampoco lo uso, but we need that tampoco as a negative agreement because we've got a negative verb set up there. Okay. And again, if I wanted to get rid of this, like chop off that little part of the phrase, lo uso, you could just use the shortcut response of yo tampoco. And sometimes, you know, in English, a lot of times we use shortcuts as well. Yeah. That shortcut way of handling a response in a personal interaction is a common thing to do in all languages. So, para que sepan, so you know, that's the way we can cut those down. Bien? Vale. Muy bien. Okay. Alguna pregunta? Any kind of question on our también and tampoco? Does that help? That little practice help clear that up a little bit? See?
That cleared it up completely. It seems so easy now. I have no idea why I didn't understand any of it the
Pues,
first time around.
see. Okay. Well, you know, sometimes we just need to hear something a certain number of times or see it in a certain number of examples. But the very nice thing about this drill is that it really isolates it down so that you're not trying to compose, plug together all kinds of different elements. It's just going va al grano, it goes straight to the point, right? Va al grano, goes straight on out to the point. Okay, a ver. Muy bien. Bueno, we're going to now seg into our little video. I'm going to give you a little picture of Raquel en Valencia. Give me 30 seconds, please. I'm trying to set up for my AC guys so that I am not answering the door. I'll be right back. Perdón.
The thing that saved me with this video is that Marilyn just said to get the big idea. I was able to get the big idea. It was hot and humid. She ate the food she loved. And then she got lost on the way home. Google Maps sent her wrong.
Sent her in the wrong direction. That's
But
about what
A ver, logistics.
About
Sorry
what I
about that, folks. Lo siento mucho. Okay. Muy bien, muy bien, muy bien. A ver. Okay. Lo difícil, the hard thing. Lo difícil. Okay. Y primero. Oh, first of all, I wanted you to know some of this is what she's talking, when they talk about that socarrat, and I actually had to look this up because I have never had this type. All that is a crusty bottom one. Crusty bottom version. That's all that means. Okay. But that term, socarrat, socarrat. Socarrat, wow. The way that is set up, I think that is a Valencian term, which would make sense. It looks more Spanish or more Valencian than Spanish, but I'm pretty sure that is. Okay, a ver. So here's where I want to start. And Jen, you can help me out with this, okay? Me puedes ayudar. You can help me. Wow. How did that get chopped up? How did that get chopped off? Ni idea. I got no clue. A ver. So, was the vocabulary itself, Jan, a tough one? See? Okay.
I got the main idea. When you just stepped away, Nora was saying, she got the main idea. I got the main idea. I think maybe in my mind, I feel like I should be getting more than just the main idea. I mean, I understood the story, but I felt like I would have had to look up so many words, and I only looked up, I didn't do it. I didn't look up every word I didn't understand.
Okay.
But yeah,
It's not like one.
yeah, I got the
One
main idea.
repeats.
Bien, sí. Okay. So I appreciate you guys giving me feedback on this, if this was maybe, and part of the issue might very well be that she does not repeat. She is not a trained instructor as Juan is. Juan is very used to the repetition issue, having to be there. Okay. And therefore he makes sure he builds that in. She being a very young 20-something and not really trained in instruction does not build that in. So that is an issue that I need to keep in mind. Bien? Okay. A ver. So one of the words that this is not a term, this particular term, flipas, para que sepan, so you know. You will never hear a Mexican using that term, but you will hear people in Spain all the time using this term. Flipas is flipar, which I'm pretty sure somewhere along the line this was grabbed and borrowed out of something from English, because it does sound like flip out, and that's what it means. Okay. Flipar es una palabra muy, muy, muy popular, popularísima, una palabra popularísima en España. This is a very popular verb in Spain, and people, younger people in particular, use it all the time, both in a negative and in a positive way, meaning you flip out for something because you're crazy about it. You're wild about it. If you're wild about something, flipar is a term people will use. If something freaks you out in a negative way, they may also use flipar to talk about that thing. Okay? Bien? But gracias. Thank you. We're kind of getting, I think, down to the key, which is that there probably wasn't enough repetition to make you totally comfortable with this. And I believe it is long enough that we can't, I don't think we really have time. We'll see if we can go back to it at any point. Okay, the only other term I want to point out to you here, another term, and this I think is used all over Latin America and Spain, is this de bajón. This de bajón phrase, bajón is kind of like saying a depression, but it's not like clinical depression. Okay. So deprimido means depressed. And that can be either clinical or just, I feel crummy. Yeah. Okay. Deprimido. But de bajón is an idea connected to that vocabulary word of deprimido. De bajón means in a funk, down, in the dumps. Yeah. De bajón. And again, it's kind of connected to the word it comes from. And the word it comes from is bajo or debajo, down, for that down direction. Yeah, debajo. It's all built around that core word of bajo, which can either mean short or under, abajo, debajo. Yeah, it's all tied to that. Bien. Ok. A ver. Vamos a empezar con conversación. Let's start with conversation. And if we got some specific questions tied back into the video, then I want to go back to that, but I want to make sure we don't shortchange anybody out of our conversation, because the idea was to listen to it. It was a food trip. You know how sometimes you do a road trip and it's only because you want to visit a particular place. That's the idea behind this. Okay. Y vamos a
Told us just
usar.
to get the main idea. It was okay.
Sí,
You know.
bien. And I'll circle back to this and see if you had any other specific questions that you really want me to go back and actually look at the video with you and answer anything there. Okay. Vale la pena viajar a, and this is, we're just plugging in ideas. Vale la pena viajar a. It's worth the effort to travel to. Literally, it's worth the pain, la pena. But when we say it's worth it, this is the phrase we use in Spanish. Vale la pena, vale la pena, vale la pena viajar a, and we're going to plug in a place. It could be an actual city because maybe there's a regional thing. It could be a specific restaurant. Vale la pena viajar a, plug in a place, para pedir, in order to order a blank. Okay? Por ejemplo, algo popular, no sé si existe ahora, sí. ¿Alguien recuerda, alguien se acuerda a la heladería Sugar Bowl en Scottsdale? Sí. ¿Existe todavía? ¿Todavía está en Old Town o no? Todavía está.
Sí.
Still there? Todavía está. Bueno, entonces, por ejemplo, un ejemplo de número 1 es así. Vale la pena viajar a Sugar Bowl en Old Town para pedir helado. ¿Vale?
Sí.
Nada más. ¿Ok? Bueno, sus ideas, your ideas.
Vale la pena viajar a New Orleans para pedir gumbo.
El famoso plato gumbo. Sí.
Y en New Orleans, gambas barbecue.
Gambas de barbacoa, ¿sí? La palabra barbecue en inglés viene de barbacoa y barbacoa viene de una palabra indígena. Barbacoa in Spanish really comes from an indigenous, like Caribbean word, Taino. Barbacoa. Ok. A ver. Otro lugar. ¿Vale la pena viajar a?
Vale la pena. Oh, go ahead, Jan.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Vale la pena viajar a la ciudad natal para pedir chuleta de cerdo.
Chuleta de cerdo, pork chops. Vale, bien. Ok. Bueno, Jan.
Vale la pena viajar a Filadelfia para pedir un bistec con queso.
El sándwich. El sándwich grandísimo, sí.
Bistec con queso a Pat's.
Bien. Excelente, excelente. Muy bien. Obviamente vale la pena viajar a Valencia para pedir paella, pero ok, según el video, y sí. Bueno, a ver, otra cosa.
Vale, let's see, ¿cómo se dice? Greek islands es vale la pena para pedir un plato de moussaka, dolmades y saganake. No hay buenos restaurantes griegos en esta zona.
Okay, bien. And when we use vale la pena, we don't use an S in front of it. Just vale la pena. See, in inglés, it's, which normalmente es, ¿no? Normalmente, para decir como en inglés, it's, se dice es. Pero aquí no, solamente vale la pena. Vale la pena. Ok. Vale,
Gracias.
magnífico. Bueno, ¿qué más? ¿Qué otros lugares? Any other places you want to talk about? Vale la pena viajar a California para pedir mariscos frescos.
Sí.
Mariscos frescos, fresh seafood. Bien, sí. Vale la pena viajar a California para pedir mariscos frescos. Bien. Bueno. ¿Qué más? ¿Algo más? Eso no. Ok. Siguiente. Número 2. Solo se sirve un o una, and you plug in a dish. Auténtico, auténtica, and you can only be served this dish as an authentic thing in and name a place.
I'll try one on that, and I just want to preface it by saying I looked up what the phrase for the dish was. I'm not sure it comes across just right.
Okay.
But solo se sirve un filete de pollo frito auténtico en Texas.
Bien, sí, muy bien. Bien dicho, well said.
Chicken fried steak.
Sí, eso
Oh,
sí. Es un plato auténtico de Texas. Bien, perfecto. Perfecto. Vale, bueno. ¿Qué más? What other ideas? What else? ¿Qué más?
Gumbo auténtico solo se vive en New Orleans o en mi casa o en la casa mi amiga Silvia.
Porque es en Louisiana.
En Illinois, pero Macy, born in New Orleans.
Ok. Ella nació
Ella nació en
en New Orleans, sí. Sí, y si una persona nació en algún lugar y tiene familia de ese lugar y tiene tradiciones de cocinar así, entonces es fácil. Muy bien. Fantástico. A ver, bueno, hay otro ejemplo de un plato auténtico. ¿Nada más? Bien, siguiente. Sí, ok. ¿Y por qué es tan especial esa comida en número 1 o en número 2? ¿Por qué es tan especial? Por ejemplo, Mark, ¿por qué es tan especial el pollo frito de Texas? Pollo frito es pollo frito, ¿no? ¿O no?
Pollo frito is fried chicken, but this is chicken fried steak. Is
Okay.
what I was trying to say.
Es como un bistec, sí. Sí.
En Nueva York, los bagels son más especial. Creo que el agua en Nueva York es diferente que el agua en Arizona.
Sí. Es verdad. That's
Me,
her
ima-
dad.
me
Yes,
imagino.
de acuerdo.
De acuerdo, sí. Sí.
Me encanta las bagels de Nueva York.
Sí, me encantan los bagels de Nueva York también, ¿sí? Ah,
Can I add something for Jan?
claro, sí.
Buy some bagels at New York Bagel and Bialy. They are wonderful.
On Hayden, un tienda New York Pizza y Bagels, y los bagels es muy especiales.
Son especiales, bien.
Especiales, sí.
Son especiales. Bueno, a ver, también muchas veces hay una lucha, o sí, una lucha, una pelea con el tema del tipo de pizza que se sirve en Chicago y la pizza que se sirve en Nueva York, ¿no?
Sí, sí.
Sí. Y hay algunos a quienes les encanta la pizza de Nueva York, solamente sí. Y hay otros que dicen, no, la pizza de Chicago es tan especial, es como se llama el deep dish, sí. Y hay dos equipos con el tipo de pizza que prefieren.
Prefiero el pizza de Nueva York, pero como los dos.
Eso, sí, sí. Cuando yo tenía como 20 años, 30 años, y cuando vivía en Chicago, fui a las pizzerías de Chicago con frecuencia, y me encantan esas pizzas, pero a mis hijos no les gusta el estilo de pizza de Chicago. Sí, hay demasiada salsa de tomate. Hay demasiada salsa de tomate. No, mamá.
I hate to say this, but Marilyn, next, for the spring, the fall class, you're going to need to organize a lunch get out for us.
Sí, eso, sí, quizás durante el otoño, sí, tenemos que organizar algo, sí, aquí, de acuerdo. Bueno, muy bien, cuatro. ¿Cuáles eran ingredientes únicos? Really unique ingredientes únicos en un plato favorito tuyo de la juventud, ¿sí? Bien, entonces, por ejemplo, si hablamos del plato de la paella, un ingrediente único, pues dos. Un ingrediente único de la paella es el marisco, the seafood. Y hay varios tipos de mariscos, pero mariscos. Y el segundo ingrediente con frecuencia, el azafrán, es azafrán, saffron, azafrán. Bueno, hay otros ingredientes únicos y ingredientes, no todo el plato, sino que hablamos de los ingredientes.
Cuando era joven, mi papá y yo nos gustó hacer helado. It's too long.
Necesitábamos, we needed.
Yes, necesitábamos poner hielo y sal alrededor un contenedor de crema y azúcar.
Bien. Okay. And we liked ice cream.
Yes, we like
Okay.
making ice cream.
Okay. We liked making ice cream. Okay. Vamos a pensar un poquito en cómo expresar esta idea de we liked making ice cream. Is this something we did a lot?
Sí.
Okay. Then we're not going to say nos gustó because
Oh, nos gustaba.
nos gustaba. Perfecto. Perfecto. Nos gustaba.
Sí.
Okay. Nos gustó gives us the idea of you only did it once
Right.
and then it was done, right? So when I walk out of a movie, okay, es normal después de ver una nueva película, ¿sí? Y salir del cine, es normal expresar la idea. Me gustó mucho esta película de Oppenheimer, por ejemplo. Sí, me gustó la película muchísimo. Okay, vale, sí, me gustó. Because I walked out of the theater and that's my reaction. Me gustó. I liked it. Pero cuando hablamos de una actividad que es habitual, que sí, entonces nos gustaba hacer helado.
I caught
mi-
my other ones, but I forgot that one.
Eso
Thanks.
es. Okay. Y es importante. That's important because you definitely want to convey the idea of we did this a lot together, right? So nos gustaba. We used to like. Bueno, hay otros ingredientes y los ingredientes del helado son simples, ¿no?
Sí.
Son ingredientes simples. Bueno, hay algo más de
Era
ingredientes. Llama, sí, continúa.
Era niña, mi plato favorito era stuffed peppers. Stuffed peppers. El plato tiene pimientos verde y carne en una salsa de tomate. Y mi abuela me hizo.
Mi abuela,
abuelo
mi
lo hizo para mí.
ok, otra vez, mi abuelo lo hacía, used to make it.
Used to make it, hacía.
Sí, lo hacía. Lo hacía para mí. Igual, perfecto. Pero lo hacía para mí. Lo hacía para mí. Muchas veces es difícil traducir estrictamente el nombre de un plato. Helado no es fácil. Stuffed pepper, sí se puede decir en español. ¿Alguien sabe cómo se expresa la idea de stuffed pepper? Porque existe también en la gastronomía mexicana el chile relleno.
Oh, chile relleno.
Chile relleno. Chile relleno. Sí, es distinto en la gastronomía mexicana comparada con la gastronomía de Estados Unidos. Son recetas distintas. They are different recipes, pero todavía son chiles rellenos. ¿Sí? Relleno. Llenar es to fill. Rellenar, refilled, ¿ok? Chile relleno es stuffed pepper, ¿sí? Relleno is stuffed. Excelente. Hay otra idea de ingredientes, ¿sí o no?
Let's see. Me gustaban las galetas con chipas. Los ingredientes son mantequilla, azúcar, azúcar moreno, pepitas de chocolate y vanilla.
Sí, chocolate,
Y
sí.
huevos, y huevos.
Pepitas de chocolate, chocolate chips, sí.
Y huevos.
Y huevos, sí, claro, huevos, claro. Bien, bien. Muy bien. A ver, bueno, hay otros ingredientes
A mí
especiales.
también, Jen.
A mí también, excelente. Bueno, a ver. Ok, adelante, adelante. Moving on, sí, adelante. Rachel habló de lo verde que es Valencia. She commented at one point, and she was standing in an old park, and she was showing like a long shot of this sort of tunnel of a park area, ¿sí? Lo verde. Rachel habló de lo verde que es Valencia. She talked about how green Valencia is. How green it is. Lo verde que es Valencia, ¿sí? ¿Cuál es tu lugar favorito cuando necesitas estar en un paisaje verde? No vivimos aquí en Arizona, no vivimos con paisaje verde aquí, porque prácticamente no existe, ¿verdad? Pero, ¿cuál es tu lugar favorito? Algo, sí.
Vuelo a Illinois en la primavera cuando los árboles
Cambian de color.
cambian verde en el primavera.
Oh, en la primavera. Sí. Bien, sí, porque todas las hojas de los árboles son verdes, verdes, verdes. En la primavera, en el verano, sí, claro. Muy bonito. Especialmente cuando yo volaba con mis hijos para ver a sus abuelos en Michigan y en Wisconsin, ¿sí? Allá, sí, cuando volábamos, when we used to fly in, cuando volábamos, ¿sí? A Chicago, a Detroit, algo así, ¿sí? Bien, se puede ver lo verde, you can see how green it is. Se puede ver lo verde, que es el paisaje del norte de Estados Unidos. Bien. Bueno, aquí muchas veces, cuando quiero ver un paisaje verde, me gusta ir a Flagstaff, porque por lo general hay más árboles que son verdes en Flagstaff que aquí. Aquí no hay tantos árboles verdes. Bueno, ¿hay otro lugar favorito que es verde o no?
I have a question about plural here. I wanted to say Los Flores Silvestre de Arizona son muy hermosas, but it's trying to say wildflowers.
Las flores silvestres, wildflowers.
I have to have
Yeah.
that plural too.
If you look up the word wild, it'll give you something else like wild.
Yeah, right.
Y no es eso. It's not that or wild. No es eso. Sí. Silvestres talks about something that is out in the woods.
Okay.
Okay.
Sylvan would be a word in
Sylvan.
English, right?
Sí. Sylvan.
Okay.
sí.
But all
Pero
of those need to be
No usamos
flores
la
and
palabra
silvestres.
sylvan mucho en inglés, pero sí existe, sí. Eso es, sí.
Okay.
Las flores silvestres, wildflowers, las flores silvestres.
Okay.
Bueno,
Mi,
Ok.
mi lugar favorito para estar en un paisaje verde es Banff, Canadá.
Ah, es un lugar muy hermoso, muy hermoso. Muy al norte, sí. ¿Hay incendios ahora en Banff o no? Los incendios están en British Columbia, Colombia, sí, británica o no. Ah, bien, sí. Ok. ¿Algo más de un paisaje verde? Anything else about green spaces? Green spaces? Ok. Esto sí a veces es importante. ¿Te importa más? Does it matter to you more? ¿Te importa más tener un espacio verde o evitar la humedad? Con un espacio verde, with a green space, hay humedad. ¿Sí? Hay que tener los dos. A mi esposo no le gusta para nada la humedad. No le gusta para nada, not at all. No le gusta para nada la humedad. Y no quiere estar en un lugar con mucha humedad. Porque prefiere el desierto.
Please don't laugh at me on this one. Prefiero evitar la humedad, pero viví en Houston durante 42 años.
Ah, sí. Y Houston tiene, sí, es famoso por tener humedad. Está cerca del Golfo de México, ¿no? Y entonces la humedad a veces es intensa, ¿verdad? Es intensa.
Mucho humedad y mucho huracanes.
Oh, sí, eso también, sí. Sí, exacto, exacto. Hoy, esta semana, hay más humedad aquí en Phoenix porque viene a veces el monzón, or the monsoon is sometimes coming. A veces viene, sí, tenemos un poquito, sí, de lluvia, pero bueno, pero por lo general no hay humedad aquí. Ok.
La gente en Phoenix, en Arizona, en Phoenix, no, no sabe humedad.
No saben qué es la humedad. Sí, sí, la humedad aquí ahora no es lo mismo que la humedad en Houston. Bien, sí. Diana.
En Illinois hoy tiene 60 grados de humedad hoy.
¡Wow!
Ahora,
¡Wow! Sin lluvia, solamente humedad. 70%. 70, sí.
y
Ay.
la temperatura es 94 grados.
Ay. Con humedad en los 70, sí. Muy incómodo. Es muy incómodo.
Sí.
Eso sí. Ok. Bueno, y ¿Cuáles son los destinos más populares para escaparse del calor? ¿Cuáles son los destinos más populares para escaparse del calor?
Muchas personas ven a las montañas en Colorado y Montana, Idaho.
Sí. Las montañas que están en el norte de Estados Unidos, sí, son espacios o destinos populares para escaparse del calor. Las montañas. ¿Qué más?
También Nueva Inglaterra.
Nueva Inglaterra, New England, Nueva Inglaterra. Sí,
En,
es un destino popular. Bien, ¿qué más?
en un piscina.
Solamente sí, las piscinas, sí, las piscinas, sí.
La playa en a la Oceane, en la Oceane, Oceano.
Sí. Entonces, sí, como Peñasco, Puerto Peñasco es un lugar
Cabo.
popular aquí y Cabo San Lucas es un lugar, sí, a veces sí, muchos amigos de mis hijos iban a San Diego. Iban a San Diego con los niños, con los chicos, para escaparse del calor. También a veces, para no tener que manejar tanto, conozco a mucha gente que va a los hoteles de los casinos aquí para staycation, ¿no? Staycation indica que son vacaciones cerca de casa, que no hay que viajar, se puede quedar en un hotel en la misma ciudad, muy cerca, sin pagar mucho por viajar. Bueno, ¿hay más destinos o no? ¿O no? Bien.
Aire acondicionada, nade. Aire acondicionada.
Aire acondicionado, sí. Cualquier lugar, any place, cualquier lugar con aire acondicionado es suficiente aquí. Bien, sí. Entiendo. Perfecto, perfecto. A ver, bueno, entonces, ¿dónde está? Ok, vamos a ver, vamos a ver. I will make sure for our interim that you're going to have an easier video to listen to, and I guarantee it will be, and it'll be a nice thing. We'll have a lot of repetition. Quiero otra vez decir, ¿hay alguna pregunta? Is there any question? Because I promised I would circle back to this. I didn't want to really do a step through of the whole video, but is there any little section out of here that you specifically need me to go to and ask about, or no? No?
It got more confusing when she was trying to describe, I was trying to understand her getting lost using Google Maps, and she had two maps and showed going one way. It's almost at the end of the video.
Okay. Yeah.
Yo también.
Okay. Bien. Sí, entiendo. Okay. Ella nos contó, she told us about, and it was a whole story. Ella nos contó de la dificultad de salir de Valencia para llegar a casa otra vez en Madrid. And here that was a little bit tough because she was just piecing together her impressions as she was rushing along. She was rushing to beat a storm. She was rushing to get on the last train out of town. And yeah, that was and Google had told her it was only going to take a certain amount of time, but no, because of road work that was being done, it was actually about twice as long as what they told her. So that was everything she was relating. Perdón, momentito. Can you show him where? Okay, I got la ayuda, the help.
My Google Maps says it's 3.5 hours.
Desde Madrid hacia Madrid. Ok, sí, es correcto, sí. Y ahora los trenes que van entre las ciudades grandes de España, ahora, hoy en día, son mejores que hacía muchos años. They're much better than they used to be many years ago, ¿sí? Pero sí, casi como 3 horas es normal para un viaje entre
that's in the
Madrid.
car. The train is only 1 hour 50.
Sí, eso es, sí. And she had a little fun thing about having to be like Usain Bolt.
Oh, yeah.
Getting there, yeah. Y refiere a la rapidez, ¿sí? Lo rápido de caminar o correr para tomar el tren, Exacto. Okay. A ver, any other little thing there that was a little bit tough? And, a lot of times she was just recording her impressions. So it kind of didn't matter if it was her. It was sort of I will make sure I give you some videos with more repetition, because I think that's going to solve the problem with being able to follow along, the folks who do more repetition. ¿Sí o no? No? Nada más? No other? No hay ninguna pregunta. Okay. I want to do just kind of this is kind of a tying some loose ends together, because you will hear, un momentito.
He's asking if the filter has been on the inside.
Un momentito, hang on. Ay, lo siento, perdón, lo siento mucho. Siempre hay preguntas, hay otras preguntas. Okay, I want to tie together some ideas here. You heard her use a lot of ideas or express a lot of ideas with this structure here. Presente perfecto. So I want to just tie this together, because we had both. This was that little this little thing that talked about different ways we use haber, right? Haber serves many purposes, and this video took on the very last 2 minutes of this haber video. It gave you examples of the last segment of the haber video. We use haber to just say I and that things exist, right? Hay una taza de café en mi escritorio, ¿sí? Hay un ratón, sí, aquí en mi escritorio. Okay. Hay Hay un hombre que va a revisar el aire acondicionado. There's a guy who's going to looking at my AC unit. Okay, a
I
ver.
don't think we saw this video.
Sí.
Am I the only one that this is familiar? I don't remember this one.
Yeah, this goes back actually, I think a couple weeks.
Okay,
They talk
sorry.
about how the I just is used for existence, how we use hay que to talk about obligation. And in both of those uses, it's just I. But here's the one use of I, which came up a lot in Rachel's video. I'm trying to find a good example. Buen ejemplo. Bye. Momentito. The haber, which is the perfect tense. Oui.
Marilyn, I don't remember seeing this one either.
No, I'll send another
No.
link to, you don't. Okay. I'll send another link to this. It's a good thing that it shows use of I to talk about existence, use of hay que to talk about obligation. And in those two, all you need is the verb I and I by itself. But sometimes we take I and we use it with a second verb to make what we call the present are the perfect tenses, And this is present perfect. So here's what happens. Instead of just using I, which is impersonal, I never refers to any one human being. Okay. And that's why it only exists in that form, I. But these all come from that verb haber. When we take haber and honest to God conjugated in all the yo, tú, él, ella, usted forms, you get things like this. Yo he, tú has, él, or ella, or usted ha, nosotros hemos, well, habéis, if only if you're in Spain, but not in Latin America, and ellos, ellas, ustedes han. When we combine these, when we add on to these conjugated forms of haber, something called a past participle, and that means it's a verb that either ends in an ado or an ido, we get what is called the perfect tenses. Okay, so you may want to go back and listen a little bit. There were a lot of examples where Rachel was using some of these perfect tenses. And all it translates to in English is, I have done something, or you have done something. So in English also has a present perfect. I have spoken with the AC guy. I have seen the work that guy did. Oh, we have eaten in New Orleans before. I have had 2 cups of coffee this morning. Have you turned on the news to hear what's going on? Okay. Have or has with a past participle. And the job it has in English is much the job that it has in Spanish. But what I want to point out is that in this little video with Rachel, if you go back and listen to it again, you'll hear lots and lots of these present perfects. This is a much loved, much used way of talking about the recent past in Spain. In Mexico, Latin America, the way we talk about the past, to talk about events, what is much favored in Latin America is preterite, right? Hablé con el hombre sobre el aire acondicionado. Hablaste, did you talk with? Habló, hablamos así, like that. Okay, so the preterite is very much favored for Latin America talking about the past. But in Spain, you'll notice a lot of times if they're talking about something that just happened a few hours ago, or this morning, this afternoon, recent past. This present perfect is very much the favored way of doing that. So just notice that. So we use these with an ado or an ido. I'm going to try to, some tend to be irregular and don't use ado either. This just talks about which ones use ado and ido. Let me show you a different way. Oh, actually, no, tenemos los ejemplos. We've got our examples here. Here are the ado ido examples. He hablado. I have spoken with somebody. Okay. If you're talking to somebody in Mexico, they're going to tend to not use he hablado. They'll just say hablé. But in Spain, if it happened like 3 hours ago, the tendency is more to use this. He hablado con él. I have spoken with him. And that automatically puts it in their mind that, oh, it was just not too long ago. Okay. Not to say it isn't used in Latin America, but it kind of has a different purpose. It's used more in formal speech. So, he hablado, he comido, he vivido. Instead of let's use an hemos. We have. Hemos comprado, we have bought. Hemos entendido, we have understood. Hemos asistido, we have attended, right? Let's put it in a different, let's use it in an he or she has. Ha viajado, ha viajado. Mi cuñada, my sister-in-law, mi cuñada ha viajado a Alemania. My sister-in-law has traveled to Germany. Ha viajado. Leído. Mi esposo ha leído las instrucciones. My husband has read the instructions. Ha leído. ¿Sí? Bien. Ido would come from ir. ¿Sí? Mi vecino ha ido al trabajo. My neighbor has gone to work. So, if you go back and listen to the Rachel video, you will hear her use lots and lots of these combinations of haber with a past participle. And they're just, it's kind of a, instead of using preterite, this is a way in Spain favored of talking about recent during today's events, kind of past. Okay. So I'll send you this little bit of information so you see how those two kinds of verbs work together. This is not as universally used in conversational Spanish for Latin American Spanish. They favor more the preterite, but just so that you know, it's a different way of talking about the past. And you may want to think about that if you go back and listen to the Rachel video one more time, una vez más, ¿sí? Bien?
I always have a question in Duolingo and I'm always getting it wrong.
Okay.
And I guess it's he hablado versus hablando. Hablando is when you say I am speaking with.
Okay.
Right? Is that correct?
Sí.
When the N is
okay. And so I'll show you the question that Jan has because eso no. I clicked on the wrong thing. Okay. I'll show you. We're going to show you this with the simplest verb hablar. If I want to say, I have talked with him. Oh, I've talked with him before, ¿sí? He hablado con él. Vale. He hablado con él. I have spoken with him. We're using two verbs, a form of haber, which in this case is he for yo, and hablado. And the hablado is always hablado, no matter who does it. What actually conjugates or changes here is the form of haber, the e or as or a or hemos or han. But this little thing here can be just a little bit tricky. Hablado. If I want to talk about what is going on right now, my son is talking with the repair guy. See, mi hijo está hablando. So, Jan, I'm going to show you the difference between those. Look at how close these are. Hablado, have spoken. Somebody has spoken. Hablando. The only difference between hablado and hablando is that little letter N. So, to the English ear, that can be tricky because here's the only letter that's different in between those two words. Hablado, hablando, hablando. We've got an N. That's the only difference. But this hablando is the ing form. And this ado is, well, loosely translated this, but in the case of this verb, it wouldn't be not, it would be spoken. Yeah, because of that verb to speak.
So is there
Spoken.
ever an a hablando?
No. Can I combine this with this? No. With ando,
Okay.
there are a couple other verbs I could use beside estar, but most predominantly it will be estar.
Okay.
I can never take this verb haber and combine it with ando. That I cannot do.
I think the bottom line is that the ado, right, the haber and ado, right, that's a past tense, right? And
This is talking about something that's done.
Is right, that's past. And estar with an ando or an endo it's what's going on now. It's present
Going
tense.
on now. I was just going to write that. See, going on now. So the meaning behind this ando is right now, right? Bien? And the meaning of this is done, over with. Okay? Happened and not happening right now. Eso es, see? But the difference in pronunciation is just that little N, and then, of course, the kind of verb you combine it with. See? So, and yeah, Duolingo may use it more. Just so you know, in conversational Spanish, this he hablado, hemos hablado, that hado ido, that present perfect is very, very favored in Spain, but not used so much to talk about as frequently about the past with Latin American. They favor the preterite more. Okay. And actually, I'll come back to that a little bit when we start our fall session about why would you use those two different ideas if they're both talking about the past. What? Why? There kind of is a why, but you just need to know that conversationally, what Latin America prefers to use is a combination of preterite and imperfect. In Spain, if they're talking about today or something happened in the last few hours, they would rather start off with this present perfect. And then, they'll use preterite and imperfect to talk about stuff that happened yesterday, further back in the past. That's the real difference there. ¿Entiendes? Understand? See?
That really
Okay.
clears it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Muy bien. Excelente. What I've got on, since we've got a fair amount of time off, I I'm going to be sending you a longish video, and it says advanced Spanish, but don't let that scare you. It actually isn't really, it isn't super advanced. And she will go somewhat more slowly, but she talks about why planes fly. Why planes fly. And you'll hear lots of words that talk about above and below and all of those. And so she's from this set of videos where they do more repetition and they do speak more slowly. Okay. So even though she's younger, she's not going to try to go super, super, super fast. So don't let the advanced scare you off, because it really isn't that tough to understand. And she's going to use lots of drawings too, to illustrate what she's talking about. So it'll be more the positioning words about where air is flowing above or underneath. Oh, this is right down your alley, Trish. Trish is going to she's going to have this down. Boom. Absolutely quicker than all the rest of us. Bien, see? And I'll give you, again, a little set of vocabulary things to help you through some of the vocabulary in there, because there is a little bit of it, but it's not too tough. And it's more positioning words than anything else. Sí, ¿todo bien? All good?
Sí, gracias.
Bien? Okay. Fantástico.
Nos vemos.
Sí, nos vemos. Tenemos como 2 o casi 3 semanas. We've got kind of a long lag here, but I think they build that in because Labor Day, yeah. People leave before Labor Day. People come back a little later than Labor Day. And yeah, there you go. They try to avoid that last push with, the holidays and kids going back to school. Okay, ¿todo bien?
Sí, gracias.
De nada. Sí. Y muchísimas gracias a ustedes. Thank you guys very much. You're a great group. And we'll see you after our little break. And we do have to do either coffee or lunch. Sí, eso. Bien. Perfecto. Okay, nos vemos.